Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and welcome back to another flight in the Fenix A320. Today we're going to do a couple things in one here. First of all, we are going to check out the brand new SoFly Hannover scenery, which in my opinion really is one of the best airports in terms of the level of detail and the accuracy by the developer for all of Germany. So at this point, thank you very much to SoFly for providing me a preview copy of the airport. I really think the level of detail they put into this is just amazing, but we'll have a quick look here in a few moments. Also, we're going to do the second flight on this channel using SayIntentionsAI to check out how they are going to handle today's flight, and we are going to use some of the data link option and the flight attendant as well. Now, at this point, thank you very much to SayIntentionsAI for becoming the new sponsor of the channel. Those of you who don't know, SayIntentions is an AI-powered air traffic control program, and they don't actually just do air traffic control, they also have things like cabin crew and a lot more things that they are currently working on. Very soon, I do hope that I will be able to show you their traffic injection as well, but that needs a few more days, weeks until it's actually ready for showcase. If you're interested, check out the affiliate link in the video description and in the pinned comment below. And with that, you would not only get yourself an excellent air traffic control add-on, but you would also support this channel. But now let's go ahead and have a look at what this video is really about. And that's of course the Hannover scenery, which I want to showcase. And in my opinion, you know that already, the best thing to do is simply to do a standard A to B flight and see how things are going to turn out. So let's go ahead and do just that. One thing that I cannot showcase in a standard A to B flight though is a lot of the audio effects that were built into the scenery. So while we're going to have a look at how the scenery looks like from a normal pilot's or a normal sim pilot's perspective here, let's just quickly use the drone cam in order to wander around the airport a little, just to find out what it actually sounds like. You can see right now over here on the apron there aren't too many custom sounds, but when we move a little bit closer to the terminal and actually just move inside, you can hear these lovely announcements and people sounds going on in the background, which is really cool. By the way, just to mention it, the terminal, while it does look quite good already, is going to receive an upgrade in the future, which is going to add a lot more realism, and SoFly are working very closely with the actual Hanover airport here on creating that update. Another nice area that we can move into actually is the air traffic control tower. So let's just do that for a moment over here, and let's just go up and over to the tower here for a moment. You can hear it silently in the background there. They actually added ATC audio to the control tower as well. So that's pretty cool, and I could very well imagine if you're a VATSIM controller and you are using this tower view to control Hannover Airport, that must be pretty immersive. Alright, so that's basically Hannover Airport. So let's go ahead now and run over back into our aircraft, and let's start setting our aircraft up for today's flight. Actually, setting it up is a little bit too much here, because I did do the setup already. I basically completed the cockpit preparation so that we can jump right into the interesting thing, which is of course going to be SayIntentionsAI. So let's go for that one. Now the first thing that we got to do here, loading is already finished, wonderful, so we literally can just finish it up and then get going. So the first thing we are going to do over here is to check the ATIS on 136575.
295 at 9er.
And find out which runway is actually going to be active.
Sky conditions. Broken at 1100 feet. Temperature 10. Dew point 7. QNH 1019er. Density altitude -500 feet. Transition level 55. Arriving and departing runways 27 right, 27 left, 27 center. Advise on initial contact. You have information whiskey. Hanover Airport.
Okay, so it's the two 7s that are active, and we've got information whiskey on board. So let's go ahead and send our PDC request here, so that we get our data link clearance. Of course, we could just request ATC clearance via our standard audio as well. However, it's probably worth mentioning that in the real world, you are using data link clearances whenever they are available, and as a matter of fact, they are available at the vast majority of airports.
Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome aboard Eurowings Flight 9978. We are delighted to have you with us today as we travel from Hanover to Düsseldorf. Please take your seats according to your boarding passes and stow your hand luggage in the overhead bins or under the seats in front of you. If you need any assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to our friendly crew members, Anna, Lucas, Sarah, and Tom, who are here to help you. Thank you for choosing Eurowings, and we hope you have a pleasant flight.
One of the things that I just like about those cabin crew announcements is that they include things like your flight number, departure and destination and stuff like that. That's just something that only AI can offer, since it has the SimBrief flight plan available. In the meantime, we can see our clearance request is being processed standby, so let's do that. And we can actually make good use of the time we have on hand just to check out the latest load sheet that we've gotten down here and basically finish up our exercises. So zero fuel weight is 59.1, so we're down 100 kilo, that's fine. And the CG is 31.9, which we have already, and that's a takeoff weight of 63.4, which is, well, within 100 kilos. 159 guests plus 3 passengers, we're going to accept that. And here's our clearance. So let's see, clear to Düsseldorf, Warburg 8 Foxtrot departure, which is confirmed. Maintain 4000, checked. So departure on 119.49, squawk 1000, expect runway 27 left. So, Wilco and send. In the real world, I would also press the print button now in order to print that clearance. Unfortunately, that's not simulated in the Fenix Airbus at the moment. So 119.49, I'm just going to dial that in as a reminder down here. And apart from that, Warburg 8 Foxtrot is confirmed, 4000 is checked, and squawk 1000. Alright, cool. So let's go ahead and close that one. Finish up the preparations. Everything is entered. So let's go ahead and do our departure briefing, and then we are ready for our checklists and pushback clearance. Okay, so your turn. So this is going to be takeoff from runway 27 left, Warburg 8 Foxtrot, initial 4000, MSA 2800, and extra fuel and time. Let's have a quick look, 17 minutes, 600 kilograms. Alright, thanks for that. No hotspots for our taxi routing, should be fairly straightforward over here to runway 27 left. Stop margin will be plenty. Engine outset straight at 25 miles to the Hannover X1 point, which I have already created in the secondary and in the fix page. Immediate return will be runway 27 right, which is the longer runway. We are below the max landing weight, so we don't need to do any overweight stuff, and that's prepared in the secondary flight plan. Apart from that, I have nothing special, nothing non-standard here. Do you have any questions? No? Wonderful. So that's our briefing completed. Alright, I like this. Cockpit preparation checklist, please. Gear pins and covers removed. Then fuel quantity is 4,500 kilograms. Seatbelts on, ADRs, nav and barrel ref, QNH 1019er. Cockpit preparation checklist complete. Alright, very cool. So we're pretty much done with everything. Let's say hello to our passengers. In the meantime, we're going to start the APU, and then we're ready for pushback. Liebe Fluggäste, einen schönen guten Morgen aus dem Cockpit. Hier spricht Ihr Kapitän. Mein Name ist Emanuel Hagen. Im Namen der Eurowings darf ich Sie herzlich an Bord unseres Airbus A320 auf diesem Flug nach Düsseldorf begrüßen. Die Flugzeit heute wird bei ca. 40 Minuten liegen in einer Reiseflughöhe von 24.000 Fuß. Wir erwarten einen weitestgehend ruhigen Flug, wünschen Ihnen jetzt einen schönen Aufenthalt bei uns an Bord, lehnen Sie sich zurück, genießen Sie den Service und unsere Kabinenbesatzung wird Sie in Kürze mit den Sicherheitsanweisungen vertraut machen. Das geschieht nicht nur zu Ihrer eigenen Sicherheit, sondern auch der Sicherheit der Passagiere um Sie herum, weshalb wir Sie dafür um Ihre volle Aufmerksamkeit bitten. Wir melden uns im Anflug noch einmal mit dem neuesten Wetter und wünschen Ihnen jetzt einen schönen Aufenthalt bei uns an Bord. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emanuel, and in the name of Eurowings, I would like to welcome you aboard our Airbus A320 on our flight to Düsseldorf. Today's flight time is going to be approximately 40 minutes in the cruising altitude of 24,000 feet. We do expect a mostly smooth flight, and we'll get back to you with the latest weather information once we're approaching our destination airport. In the meantime, sit back, relax, make yourself comfortable, and once again, welcome aboard. Alright, so we can disconnect all the ground equipment, the parking brake is set, then let's force GSX to start preparing the aircraft for pushback and departure over here. A custom GSX profile is delivered with the Hannover airport, so we should get an accurate pushback here.
Cabin is ready for departure, Captain.
Okay, thank you. So then,
Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome aboard Eurowings Flight 9978, departing from Hanover to Düsseldorf. We are delighted to have you with us today. Our Captain Emmanuel and our First Officer Najla are at the controls, ensuring a safe and pleasant journey. Joining me in the cabin are my wonderful colleagues, Anna, Lucas, Sarah, and Tom, who are here to assist you throughout the flight. We expect a flight time of approximately 37 minutes. Now, let's go over some important safety information. First, please ensure your seatbelt is fastened. To fasten your seatbelt, insert the metal tip into the buckle until you hear a click.
Hannover ground, Eurowings to Alpha Romeo, request pushback and startup.
Oxygen masks will drop down from the panel above you. Pull the mask towards you to start the flow of oxygen. Place it over your
Eurowings
nose
to
and
Alpha
mouth,
Romeo,
securing it
Hanover
with
ground,
elastic
pushback
band.
and startup approved.
Remember to put
Face
on your
east.
mask before assisting us.
Pushback and startup approved, face east, Eurowings to Alpha Romeo.
Note of the emergency exits located at the front, middle, and rear of the aircraft.
Before start
To reach
checklist.
them, follow the illuminated
Parking
escape
brake.
path in case of an emergency.
Set, takeoff speed
Life
and
vests
thrust.
are located
V1
under your
132,
seat.
VR 132,
In
V2
the event of a
135,
water
flex
landing,
66.
remove the vest from its pouch,
Windows.
pull it over your head, and inflate it by
Closed.
pulling the red
Beacon.
tabs.
On.
You can
Before
also
start checklist
inflate it by
complete.
blowing into the tubes at your shoulders. We are currently pushing back from the gate, and we appreciate
So
your
let's go for
attention
it.
to the
Facing
safety
east, that
instructions.
means nose right, and
After
the
our meal
parking brake
service, I will
is
come around selling
released.
articles from the Eurowings shop, so do keep an eye out for that. Thank you for your attention, and we wish you a pleasant flight.
Alright. Off we go. Start sequence will be 1, then 2, and starting the engines momentarily. So in my last video featuring SayIntentions, somebody complained that the cabin crew would have sounded too American. I do hope that you prefer the way it is today. The reason it was that way is because you can actually choose who your cabin crew is going to be, and I opted to choose the American crew member on the last one. Today I chose Mara from Germany, who is an actual flight attendant. Well, the real person whose voice they used is an actual flight attendant. So, as you can probably guess, that is the reason why it sounds so professional. Alright, starting 1. Man, you're living a careful life that close to an engine that's being started right now. Alright, push completed, set brakes. Brake set, and good start 1, starting 2. Clear 2. Engine 2 start. Did I ever mention I really like the ground textures over here? They just look very crisp and no fancy strange stuff in there, just like an airport should be. This is exactly how I would imagine it in the full flight simulator as well. Guys, if you got any problems, if you need any help, don't just walk behind an aircraft engine. Get yourself some help, talk to someone. Okay, 2 good engine starts, then we've got our marshaller down here holding a pin in his hands. That's beautiful, exactly what we need. Alrighty, so clear signal is received after start checklist. Anti-ice, off, ecam status, checked, pitch trim, 30%, rudder trim, neutral, after start checklist complete. WinWings 2 Alpha Romeo, request taxi. Will you? Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, request taxi.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, taxi to runway 27 left via Lima 1 Charlie Alpha.
Taxi to runway 27 left via Lima 1 Charlie Alpha, Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo. That was a different voice. I think they might just have been on a change of shift or something the likes. Normally they do react on your first attempt. Alright, so Lima 1 is the one we're currently on. Then we swing over onto Charlie and then Alpha to the holding point. Clear right side, clear left side. Brake released, let's go. Brake check, pressure 0. Okay, so that's Charlie over here. So clear on the right side, clear on the left side. I really like the details on the ground here. Look at how many different textures there are. That one's a bit darker, then you got a bit brighter ones over here. There's a different one on the taxiway over here again. It really brings the airport to life. It's not like one large uniform texture like we used to see in add-ons of, let's say, a bit lower quality, but much rather you get really individual high quality stuff here, and that's something that really brings the airport to life in my opinion. And that's why I would rank the scenery right up there with, for example, Düsseldorf by Jo Erlendsund. Now, take a good guess why we're flying there today. Alright, flight control check. Full up. Pull down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. And the rudder. Full left. Full right. Neutral. So, no changes to our takeoff briefing. Let's do the taxi flow. Something that I like about flying with air traffic control now, in terms of the taxi flow, is that you actually have to check the transponder, make sure that your squawk has been entered, which is part of the flow pattern, but which becomes very easy to miss in the flight simulation world, because, well, if you fly without ATC squawk, the squawk really isn't of any of your concerns. So, taxi checklist please. Flight controls, checked, flap setting, config 1+F, radar and predictive wind shear, on and auto, engine start selector, Norm, ecam memo, takeoff, no blue, taxi, checklist complete. Alright, so we're clear to taxi to the full length here. And then we're probably going to get the tower handoff when we actually approach the runway. So that should be either 12018 or 120405. Let's see which one they have in store for us.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, contact tower on 120.18. Guten Flug.
120.18, Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo. Hannover Tower, Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, ready for departure. So 11949 will be our departure frequency.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, Hanover Tower, runway 27 left, winds 295 at 9er, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 27 left, cleared for takeoff, Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo. So 1949
Approaching
is pre-selected.
27 left.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for departure. And we're clear on the left side, lineup checklist. Takeoff runway is 27 left, full length. GCAS, GARA, PAX 1 and 2, off, lineup checklist complete. Alright guys, so are you ready to go? 27 left is confirmed. Let's make it a rolling takeoff.
On runway 27 left.
Checked. Flight 66, SRS, runway, order thrust blue. Knots. V1 rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Nav checked. Alright then, bye bye Hannover. It was very nice meeting you for the first time.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, contact departure on 119.49.
119.49, Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo. Clear radar, Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, passing 1,900, climbing 4,000.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo,
Zero.
Bremen radar, identified. Climb 3000.
Stop climb at 3,000, Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo. So that's 1,000 to go. Alright, temperatures are good, 13 degrees, we don't need anti-ice entering the cloud. Speed hold stop. So, a little hand flying exercise it seems.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, climb flight level 200.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, climb flight level 200. So, first climb alt 20,000. Alright, so acceleration flow pattern, flaps up, spoilers.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, contact Bremen radar on 126.655.
126.655, Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo. standard. Standard cross-check, passing flight level 54. Now, checked. Radar, guten Morgen, Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, passing flight level 59, climbing flight level 200. Radar, Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, passing flight level 73, climbing flight level 200.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, Bremen radar identified. Good morning.
Okay, well, here we go. That took a little bit longer than I thought. Second time on today's flight. I'm definitely going to put that into the tracker, just to make sure that they have a look at if there is any missing of calls or something currently going on in the background. Or if I'm just too impatient and don't want to wait for answers, might of course be
Eurowings to Alpha Romeo, Bremen radar, climb flight level 240.
Eurowings to Alpha Romeo, climb flight level 240. Flight level 240 blue. Alright, passing level 100. I'll turn the landing lights off with the rest.
Dear guests, we have just climbed above the safe altitude, and I am pleased to inform you that the use of electronic devices is now allowed. You can also enjoy our onboard Wi-Fi service Wings Connect, which is available for purchase. Just a reminder, only credit cards are accepted for payment. Thank you for your attention, and we hope you enjoy the flight.
So with all the rest, I'm going to wait until we have accelerated and are stable established in the climb, because then I'll turn the autopilot on as well. I just really enjoyed the hand flying bit over here, so I thought, well, let's just keep doing that for a little bit. Alright. Autopilot 1. So, lights are off. We can turn the signs off here as well, so that the cabin crew can start their service. And let's go to airport. And then let's head right down here and do a clear and copy, please. So you go away. You go away. Nothing in the RadNav. Copy active. And, well, 360 versus 240 is nothing to be worried about at all. Alright, cool. So with that, we're nicely established in the climb, and then I tend to say, let's see if we can get ourselves a nice little direct here. Eurowings to Alpha Romeo, requested to proceed direct Domux.
Eurowings to Alpha Romeo, proceed direct, Domox.
Eurowings to Alpha Romeo, proceed direct Domux. Very nice. So, Domux, direct 2. That's going to reduce our cruise to just about 20 nautical miles, but I think that's going to be totally fine for us. So let's go ahead and start having a look into our destination already, at least find out about the active runways. So Düsseldorf 8 is 12378.
Departing runway 23 left. Caution bird activity. Advise on initial contact, you have information Juliet. Düsseldorf Airport, information Juliet. 0650 Zulu. Wind 020 at 5. Cab OK. Temperature 12. Dew point 6. QNH 1021. Density altitude -400 feet. Transition level 65. Arriving runways 23 left, 23 right. Departing runway 23 left. Caution bird activity. Advise on initial contact, you have information Juliet.
Alright, so we have information Juliet and it's runway 23 left and right with a slight tailwind. And in case you're wondering about that, at the real Düsseldorf airport they tend to use runways 23 left and right with a tailwind of up to 5 knots. And since they just set the wind to 020 at 5, it actually makes sense that they're using runway 23. However, for us, that means we gotta redo all of this. So let's enter the ILS 23 left, and we'll enter the Domox 23 transition over here. Select heading or track first. Yep, that's because we're changing the inbound waypoint. So insert, direct, insert. Here we go. Open climb nav. And climb. Alright, cool. We'll prepare 23 left on the active and 23 right on the secondary. Like this. Perfect, so let's have a look into the charts here. You can see our plan from runway 05. I'm going to change that plan now, obviously. So approach, let's see, ILS 23 left, ILS 23 right. So minimum 338. But first things first, let's go ahead and trust check the arrival real quick. So arrival chart and Domox 23 on off transition. So Domox below 140, and then we've got Delta Lima 405, maximum 220, approaching. Delta Lima 406, 220, all the way to Delta Lima 410, also 220, and indeed that's exactly what we have. And we're proceeding towards the final Delta Lima 450 at 220 knots, makes sense. And from there onto the ILS approach. And we're approaching 1,000 to go. Speed, vertical speed. 1,000 to go. So, ILS approach starts at Metna, 3-degree glide slope. And that's what we've got. This approach straight at 2.6 Düsseldorf, right 307 until passing radial 277, right back to the station, climbing 4,000. Let's have a look. Yep, that's exactly what we've got in here. Alright, very cool. So we can
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, expect the Domo 1 Alpha arrival. Anticipate descent in about 5 minutes.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, expect Domox 1 Alpha arrival. Copied. Okay. So Domox 1 Alpha. I'll start.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, roger, proceed direct Domax. Expect the Domo 1 Alpha arrival and anticipate descent in about 5 minutes.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, proceed direct Domox, expect Domox 1 Alpha arrival. Roger. Okay. Do we change it, or do we request the transition? I guess since there is just no traffic over here, they are using stars. But that's something that I did notice a little bit earlier. They do have that tendency to give you a star clearance, which in some airports is just not done. So I'm going to enter this right now. But I really do think that this is something they should update with a future version. Okay, so let's fly direct to Domox over here. And then the routing is going to be from Domox to Düsseldorf, VOR. And then from there we are going to get radar vectors. Pretty much like this. That's fine with me. Now I will just modify this over here, so let's take the secondary again, copy active, and Düsseldorf /-15.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, contact Langenradar on 135.65.
135.65, Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo. Ground radar, Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, level 240.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, Langenradar, identified. Good morning.
Okay, so in the secondary flight plan, I am just experimenting a little bit. Basically, I inserted a waypoint 15 miles prior to Düsseldorf VOR along the star, so that this part over here now still equals the star, and then over here I want to take a shortcut to the final. That's basically to anticipate the shortest possible distance and to be able to calculate a better VNAV profile. The only problem with that, there is definitely a bug in the Fenix here. You can see the altitude prediction at that place distance waypoint is 1753, while, you know, 7 miles later at Magma we need to be in 3000. That doesn't make sense, so this is bugged. Yeah, so we'll just have to use the speed brake when it comes to it. Kinda live with that as well. Again, we did want to prepare the ILS 23 right on the secondary, so that's fine with me anyway. Insert Düsseldorf VOR over here. Now let's take Düsseldorf 23 left. Then onto the performance pages. 280 in the descent is good. We'll accept that. And then I'm just a lazy guy, so I'm going to get my weather from here. Arrival 010 at 6, 10 degrees, 1021. So, minimum 338 on runway 23 left. Let's see about runway 23 right. That's 354. Okay, so reaching our top of descent. Wings 2 Alfa Romeo, request descent.
Eurowings 2 Alfa Romeo, cleared Domo 1 Alpha arrival into Düsseldorf.
Eurowings 2 Alfa Romeo, roger. That's a bug at the moment. When you say request descent, he's just going to clear you for the arrival again. Eurowings 2 Alfa Romeo, ready for descent.
Eurowings 2 Alfa Romeo, descent altitude 14,000 feet. QNH 1020.
Eurowings 2 Alfa Romeo, descending altitude 3,000 feet. QNH 1020. Okay, that's a bug, guys. Two bugs in one here, actually. The first of them, 1,400 feet? Come on, that's in the mountains. We are flying across hills right now. Look at this. Hills, up to 2,300. So, definitely gonna report that one. And the other one, as mentioned, if you say ready for descent, it gives you descent clearance. But if you use the correct phraseology, request descent, it doesn't seem to understand that. So, that's something that I did report already as part of the ongoing partnership.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now left our cruising altitude and have started our approach to DOI to 1 Düsseldorf. Please
Okay,
return to your seats,
in any case,
start your cables, and fasten
we
your
have
seatbelts.
pretty much ended our stuff down here. That's 2,400 for the single engine acceleration altitude. Fuel prediction, 26 minutes extra. And that's all we needed to know for here. So yeah, that's our setup completed. So let's just go over to the right hand side in order to start the approach briefing. Okay, so we are following the Domo 1 Alpha arrival for a radar vectored ILS approach, runway 23 left. The approach will be with a speed brake.
Eurowings 2 Alfa Romeo, descent altitude 4,000.
Eurowings 2 Alfa Romeo, descent altitude 4,000. Now it's noticed. Okay, so it will be a radar vectored ILS approach, runway 23 left. Config full, idle reverse, auto brake low, vacate to the left side. No hotspots, at least none that I would expect. We are well familiar with the taxi over there in Düsseldorf. And that's pretty much everything I have. Extra fuel and time, as we just said, around about 25 minutes in the form of 900 kilos. Alright, flight director guided approach, slight turbulent component expected on runway 23 left here, 010 at 6 the latest winds. As you correctly said, conf full, idle reverse, auto brake low to the left. Nothing special really. missed approach to 4000. I have nothing special or non-standard over here. Threats for the arrival, well, we might come in a little bit high, but with a speed brake it shouldn't be any problem.
Eurowings 2 Alfa Romeo, turn left, heading 180 vector for the ILS runway 23 left approach.
Eurowings 2 Alfa Romeo, turn left, heading 180. That's interesting. Okay, in that case, speed brake in. Let's see what they have in store for us. Extend the center line, please. CF26 050 insert. Nope, this is wrong. Another bucket of
Eurowings
Fenix.
2 Alfa Romeo, contact Düsseldorf approach on 128.655.
128.655 Eurowings 2 Alfa Romeo.
Juliet. 0650 Zulu.
Juliet. Long radar, Eurowings 2 Alfa Romeo, passing level 149, descending 4000, heading 180, information Juliet.
Eurowings 2 Alfa Romeo, Düsseldorf approach identified. Good morning. Expect the ILS runway 23 left approach into Düsseldorf.
Expect ILS 23 left, Eurowings 2 Alfa Romeo. I guess he's turning us left because he thinks we're a little
Eurowings
bit
2
too
Alfa
high.
Romeo, Düsseldorf approach, 17 miles from Metna. Turn right heading 295, descend altitude 3000 until established on the localizer. Cleared for the ILS runway 23 left approach.
Eurowings 2 Alfa Romeo, turn right heading 2905, descend altitude 3000, cleared ILS 23 left. Well, that's going to be interesting to establish on the ILS like this, but we'll try. But you can clearly see he turned us to the left to give us some extra track miles, now turns us right again. Let's actually see how that intercept angle is going to work. And in the meantime, I think we were done with the briefing and pretty much done with everything here, so let's go ahead and... Okay, slowing down is good, but not to the final approach speed, please. Speed 250. Did it activate the approach phase? At this level? Another bug in the Fenix here. Okay, cool. So, that radar vector is actually quite okay, leading us almost to Metna. I'm gonna go 5 further to the right just to be sure that we intercept it exactly. Especially with that wind maybe even 10 to the right. And just in case you're wondering, yes, in the real world we do sometimes simply adjust the heading a little bit ourselves in order to make it a tad nicer. And you know, 5 to 10 degrees if you're that close doesn't make much of a difference. Yes, I know the internet community is probably going to get mad at me for saying this, but let's just face it. The real world is different than the sim.
Captain, cabin is ready.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so
we are
passing
now
10,000
on
and that's everything done.
Please turn off your electronic devices and stow them until we arrive at the gate. Kindly put your tray tables away and ensure your seats are in their full upright position. Don't forget to fasten your seat belts. Once we land,
Alright,
our
approach checklist,
Eurowings staff will
please.
provide you with information regarding your connecting flights. Thank you for your
Barrel
cooperation.
reference, QNH 1020, seatbelts on, minimum, Barrow 338, auto brake, low, engine start selector, norm, approach checklist complete. So look at that, with full speed brake we'll get level just prior to Metna, so the way it looks to me, that was a very good delay vector. Because we get just about the distance we need. Now let's just give ourselves a direct Metna here. That's pretty much our heading, and that gives us a slightly better intercept guidance. Because that is definitely something I would like beyond ATC. Did I say beyond ATC? See guys, I'm reading too many comments. Don't say I don't read them. That's something I would like SayIntentions to improve there. Obviously, heading 295 to establish on an ILS 23 left, that is a 65-degree intercept angle, is not something you would have gotten. You would have gotten heading 295 or maybe 305, something over here, and then, you know, a mile prior to the waypoint turn left heading 260 cleared ILS. that would have been the 100% correct way of doing this. So that feedback is definitely going to go to them. 11 degrees, entering the clouds, no anti-ice needed. So we'll fly it down to 3000, and when we get alt star, I'm going to manage speed in order to start bleeding the speed off. Just, we need to capture that glide slope from above here, which is no problem with the speed brake, but needs a little bit of management, let's call it that way. So, finger on the speed knob, as soon as we read alt star, we're going to manage that speed. Here we go, speed alt star. And we cleared ILS.
2,500.
So, glide slope star, localizer star, cath dual, autopilot 1.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo. Contact Düsseldorf Tower on 118.305.
118.305, Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. Düsseldorf Tower, Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, ILS 23 left. Go around altitude set.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, Düsseldorf Tower
That's it.
identified.
Localizer.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, Düsseldorf Tower, wind 0205.
Get down.
Runway 23 left, cleared to land. Caution bird activity.
Runway 23 left, clear to land. Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo. Okay, flaps 2. Bird activity caution is noted. Not much we can actually do about it. So then, speed brake coming back in. Why is the cabin not ready yet? Here we go, they probably just forgot to push the button. Hello?
The cabin is now secure for landing.
Thanks. Okay, flaps 3. Speed check, flap 3. And flaps full. Speed checked, flaps full. Company message, we'll disregard that for the time being. Landing checklist, ECAM memo, landing nobody. Landing checklist complete. Alright, manual flight. Checked. Not the actual 1000, by the way. The actual is at 1150, which is now, and we're fully stabilized.
Approaching 23 left.
Intentionally. Land.
100 above.
Check.
300.
So slight tailwind, basically as it is on the ground already.
Minimum
Continue.
200. $100.
Ooh, that's some birds here.
40, 30, 20. Retard.
Welcome to Düsseldorf. Oh, spoilers, reverse green, decel. Man, those birds really caught me there.
1,500 meters remaining. 1,200 remaining.
Manual brakes.
900 remaining.
Yeah, and now that we're at a decent speed, Ras is not going to annoy us anymore. Good.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, welcome to Düsseldorf. Contact ground on 121.605.
121.605, Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo. Düsseldorf ground, Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, request taxi to gate 2.
Airport. What a smooth landing, eh? I would
No.
rate it an 8 out of 10.
No.
The current local time is 9:26 a.m. The weather here is quite pleasant.
Eurowings 2
with a
Alpha
temperature
Romeo,
of 30
runway
degrees
2 is
Celsius
not
and
available.
clouds
Taxi
outside.
to V101 via
Did you
Lima
know
6,
that
Mike
Dubai,
Lima 7
one
Tango
called
1. Good day.
Düsseldorf, is famous for
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, request gate Alpha 2.
Please remain
That's what I
seated
meant to
until
say
we
in the
reach our
first
final
place.
parking position. On behalf of Captain Emmanuel, First Officer Lucas,
Eurowings
and the
2
entire
Alpha
crew,
Romeo, taxi
including
to gate
Anna,
Alpha
Sarah,
2 via
and Tom,
November, Echo Alpha.
thank you for flying with Eurowings today. We hope
Taxi to gate Alpha 2 via November, Echo Alpha, Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo. What? November, Echo Alpha? We don't have these taxiways at Düsseldorf. Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, request taxi to gate Alpha 2. Should be Mike Papa 1 Lima 5 or something the likes. Mike Papa 1, I think.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, taxi to gate Alpha 2 via Lima 6, Mike Papa 4 Tango Papa 1 Lima 5.
Eurowings 2 Alpha Romeo, taxi to gate Alpha 2 via Papa 6, Mike Papa 4 Tango and Lima 5. Okay, well, that's a little bit more interesting taxi routing here, but we can absolutely do that. So it's to the right, and then we basically make a 180 to the left. I think, and that's just an assumption, that SayIntentions saw our current heading on taxiway Mike, which was a little bit westerly, because they definitely need to change one thing, and that's when you vacate a runway, tower should tell you either turn left or turn right onto taxiway so-and-so, and then contact ground. This stopping on the intersection and then getting a ground handoff there isn't really realistic. That's part of the feedback I gave him already. And well, I think since it saw that we were facing a little bit to the west, that's why it gave us this taxi routing here. So that's definitely something that I will bring to their attention. And yeah, this November Echo Alpha, no idea where that came from. Bug report. So GSX Alpha 2, no follow me needed. Handling by AHS. So over at Hanover, I told you guys that this variety with the ground textures is something that I really appreciate, and I also told you that I think that Yoke Airlines Düsseldorf is pretty much one of the best sceneries for Germany available at the moment, and you can absolutely see why that is. Just look over here and how many different types of ground textures there are, just like in the real one, and of course high definition terminals and stuff like that. Well, and I do really think that Hanover is actually pretty much right up there. So this was definitely a flight between two of the very best airports Germany has to offer at the moment, including one of the very best drivers Germany has to offer. And I think, even though this wasn't a real world flight, there is no Eurowings service between Düsseldorf and Hanover, I did still have a lot of fun here. Well, and as we taxi into the gate, also a little bit of feedback on SayIntentions over here. I think it did quite a couple of things right. It had one interesting surprise with the level of right after calling departure control. And then of course the star clearance, which should have been a transition at Düsseldorf. I think that's just something they need to customize for every airport, so hopefully they are going to do that soon. And apart from that, the radar vectors, yeah, should have been a slightly nicer vector to final. And I think we can explain the taxi routing we received So that is okay with me. No, this is not too far. Don't write silly stuff. Okay, and I think that's pretty much our entire flight and all the feedback that I can gather from it. I do hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Be sure to leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video. As always, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Check out the link to SayIntentions in the description and the pinned comment, and if you really appreciate what I'm doing on this channel, then I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for flying along. Let me know your feedback, and with all of that out of the way, I'm really looking forward to the next one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now parked at DHOT 1 Core Düsseldorf Airport. On behalf of Captain Emmanuel, First Officer Lucas, and the entire crew, I want to thank you for flying with Eurowings today. We hope you have a wonderful stay here, whether you're on vacation or traveling